drawing board?
Well, way before the album came out, or is coming out, yeah, like 2019. Like we started writing it sort of after touring LP3. The sooner after sort of doing that, I think we realized all the things we would change or do different in the process, and creatively maybe. And we started, and then pandemic, it wasn't our fault. That it said, it would have been probably 3 or 4 like a normal thing, except the global pandemic. Maybe a little bit Lamo's fault, I don't know. He had other things to do during a global pandemic, I guess, more important than playing drums. Yeah, I mean, but I think we all wanted to, and then none of us worked too quick, so by the time we got back into it, it took a while. Okay.
And Steve Lamos, you also left for a little bit and then rejoined. Coming back into American football, what was it when you rejoined and were in the thick of it again made you really glad that you decided to return?
Hello, I'm weirdly nervous about this. Yeah.
This is Steve Lamos. Steve Lamos, ladies and gentlemen. Give him a hand.
I don't know. I had a lot going on. It was pandemic and lots of personal stuff. And I missed these idiots, and I asked them when I came back. And I think we've been good about talking through things, and I think we, made a concerted effort to sort of make the record that we want to make and take our time to do it. I think, like, Nate built this whole elaborate system for how we make the record, and we were able to kind of really work hard over a long period of time to sort of get it the way that we wanted to before we got in the studio. Is that fair to say? And it was really pretty magical. So it's been fun to be back. I'm grateful for it. I guess I'll say, when I asked to come back, one of the deals I sort of made with myself was not to take any, minute of it for granted. Because when I was away from it, at first I was like, oh, that feels like relief. And then after a while, I was like, I really did miss it. And sort of was like, if I'm gonna do it again, enjoy every moment for what it is. Because this is a special gift to be able to do this, at this point in life and with everything else going on in the world. And so I'm, grateful to, these folks, and grateful to you all. And so trying to kind of take it seriously. So that's all, yeah.
So we should say Steve Lamos is a wizard, and we knew better than to try to continue without him. So we just waited him out. We're like, well, he'll take a break.
They kept lying to me. I'm like, wait, am I supposed to sign something? Yeah, it's not ready yet. It's not ready yet. It was great. I'm glad that they gave me my space. It was great.
I was trying to think of the best way to summarize this album, and now thankfully everyone in this room has heard it, but it feels like the most uneloquent thing to say, but it just feels so pretty. Like, this album is very beautiful, and especially in like a closed headphone listen out loud like this in a crazy large room, which is really cool. And it's kind of cool that even the louder, more like rocky songs on here still sound really beautiful. And I was curious, when you're writing these songs, did it start in that space of conversations around how do we make something that sounds really, kind of goes through like dream pop and post-rock and has these very long things, but it's also really layered. I wasn't sure if you guys were thinking of that way from the start of how can we bring in these layers, or do we want to improvise, or if you're trying out pedals, like where does it begin to get something like this? Because it feels like there's a million pieces.
Nate, you go. A million pieces.
Okay, I think there's
Nate!
Hi everybody. We're all drawn to pretty music. I think that there are a lot of ugly parts in it too that maybe help accentuate the pretty parts of it. But to answer your question more directly, I don't think we ever really talked about making something specifically pretty, or we never really describe it or like kind of try to pinpoint something to like aim for, at least. So
yeah, it wasn't something we talked about, but something we fell into.
I like that you're kind of just saying you naturally write very gorgeous
I
songs.
Instinctively, I think we write towards melodic, pretty music, and I think like historically, like Lamos would always bring in the weird note of like, oh, I wouldn't play that note. And then on this record, that's like Nate brought on a lot of like, what note is that? That's not this key.
Call wrong note.
The wrong note, but the wrong note can be the right note when it's on purpose. And then like Corey Bracken, who's our percussion, vibraphone, synth guy, he made a lot of really cool loops. And what would you characterize those as?
He's really into synths, and he'll just like make drones forever. And he sent us a Dropbox full of like 50 of them, and that was like that was actually like how we started a lot of the songs, was just from a really weird synth drone. I think characterized as ugly. And we would build on top of it to land on something more pretty, potentially.
Yeah, I think maybe like ugly, maybe like the notes or something, but like they were so spectrally so wide and lush that it's kind of gorgeous. Like, yeah, you know, like so we started a lot of the songs from like this like super wide spectrum of notes and different sounds, so we just sort of filled in. We kind of played on top of it, and then I think anything you do on top of that is going to kind of sound more lush, maybe expansive.
Yeah, it definitely feels like, I don't know if soundscape is the right word, but it's very big and there's a lot going on, which also makes me wonder. I just kind of, at a certain point, was listening and almost picturing it in GarageBand or something, of like how many tracks exist in these songs. When did you know that it is too many layers? Like, when do you reach a point of like, this
Oh shit, we didn't know until you said it. There's too many layers.
No, it's when the computer stops working. It just, it just
we know
breaks.
now when we're trying to learn. We've been at band practice for 2 days and haven't started practicing yet because there's too many notes.
This is a good time to mention Sonny DiPieri. Am I saying his name right? Yeah. Just a genius in that he never complained, or he just found a space for sort of all of our ideas, which is not easy. I remember like getting mixes back. It was like, holy shit, you can hear like that little melody that I thought would get buried or be like a side thing, but it's like up front. Yeah.
And he's the one who produced the record with you guys, right?
Produced and engineered it.
All right, yeah.
And mixed.
I also really like that. I think this is the one with the piano at the end. There's like a lot of in studio or rehearsal space banter, and Nate, you run into the microphone on accident and then apologize. Which I like that you guys left that on.
It was like 10 takes. We're like, no, do it again. We kept blindfolding him and
Should I do it live?
putting him
Yes.
stand on top
Yes.
of the piano. Yeah, do that part again. It's good. Good. So Nate apologizes 100 times a minute. So,
It's true.
Sorry.
But yeah, I mean that was really loose. I think that was like sort of like it came out in the recording how relaxed this process was with making this album. We were saying we're recording in this beautiful studio in
Stinson Beach.
Bay. Is that where it's in the Bay Area? It was so beautiful there, and we got to stay there for like a week, and we would each take turns. Tracking and relieved the other people of having to be there, and we were going on hikes and walks and swimming in the ocean and everything. It was so great. So it was like very much just leaving like a little slice of life in there. I mean, it feels like loose and natural. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I loved it. At first, when I was listening, I was playing it through like an external speaker at my place and didn't hear it. And the second time when I was listening with headphones, there was like all this stuff I picked up on, which is also part of the fun. It did make me curious, was there I was just thinking of like B-roll discussion audio stuff that could have made it that was cut. Maybe nothing interesting. Maybe it's cut for a reason.
I want to tell it. Can I tell the John story? So I got to go in early and track the drums. That was, hey, I need a couple days in the studio. I just sort of want to take some cracks at some things. And so we were there a good while. And so after I tracked drums, was sort of participating. But I had mentioned, the studio is this amazing place and it overlooks this bay. And I had mentioned sort of in passing that I'd never gone surfing. So I was looking out the window while they were tracking. And John from Tape Op is one of the owners of this place. I get this tap on the shoulder, and not really an introduction, but he's like, I heard you want to try surfing. I was like, oh, I'd like, someday I would love to try. He's like, we got 2 hours. And he hands me a wetsuit. So I got to try surfing with John from Tape Up, and he's a lovely guy, sort of a quirky guy, just sort of really gentle and nice, and I won't forget it. But anyway, I blew off an entire day of recording so that I could go surfing, which was neat. And I was terrible at it, and yeah, it didn't work. But then it was still like a kind of an interesting memory. So we didn't record that, but it was just kind of neat, yeah.
What's the farthest you got? Did you stand on the board?
I wish I could say yes. but I got in the water, it was fantastic. I'll never forget it.
I've never surfed, so I'm impressed. I also wanted to talk about the album opens with this humming sound. It almost kind of sounds meditative, but why did you decide to open with that, and who is it that's actually doing the kind of humming?
That was me.
No, he's sorry.
Well, I think we just landed on that one being the first track, and it kind of jumped into it a little too quickly. I felt like it needed a little bit more, just like to get into the space of it, especially on I think like this band is like known as it's a guitar band. There's this tapestry of guitar work that's happening, and to start with the synth song was kind of a move, that it was a decision, it was a big one. I'm glad everyone was so on board with it, or I don't even think I proposed it. It was it just seemed like a bold move that everyone was. Just came up naturally. But I just felt like it needed a little bit, to give it a little bit of time to introduce the thing. So I don't know, we kind of put that at the top of it. I don't remember, I'm sorry.
No, answer. That explains it. I mean, it's funny because this one opens with that, the previous one opens with the kind of chime sound that increases. Obviously, everyone here knows how your first album starts, I think down to the millisecond, but I like that they all have a very immediately recognizable, if you were doing one of those song guessing games where you hear 1 second, you would guess it really quickly, and I like that. I like that they all sound very different from the start.
I listen to this sports podcast, and he has people submit music, local or whatever, indie, and I'm excited to send him that track, because usually I listen about 20 seconds and then they start talking, but this unfolds over a minute and a half, they gotta give it a minute and a half of Nate humming. Cracks me up, just to hear him be okay, that was weird, I just can't wait to hear what they think about it. That's what I'm writing for Tony Kornheiser.
What's the podcast?
It's called The Tony Kornheiser Show.
I do feel like these songs, there's so many of these parts floating around, and it's very beautiful, but I think this record, more than your other ones, feels really driven by the rhythm section. I feel like the two of you are kind of taking this huge, expansive stuff and finding a way to rope it together and bring it along this path. And obviously the rhythm section is always kind of the anchor for bands regardless, but something about how it came together on this album really struck me and stood out a lot. So wanted to ask you guys about how early on that was the case, if you were bringing in guitar parts for people to figure it out, if you felt, I was kind of picturing you guys with 2 really big butterfly nets of having to catch all this stuff and figure out how to pull it along.
Yeah, I think half these songs were sort of guitar-y and half kind of came more from the rhythm section. But I like that butterfly net analogy. That is, I use this analogy, playing with these guys is like riding on a unicycle in a snowstorm or something. Maybe flying some kites too, there's all sorts of things happening. But no, I'm so glad, I'm so glad that you said that. I think the opening track was that's a drum beat that I had kicked around for a long time, and that actually was one that I'd submitted to the guys before I quit, and then I heard what they did with it, and I was like, oh, I made a mistake. I really, when I heard sort of how they took it and transformed it, I'm like, oh, that one's really special. So that one is kind of a through line to before, to 2019 or even 2018. And there's a couple, I think the last track on the album was sort of rhythm section driven too, but then, also writing with these guitar parts, I'll just say as a drummer, it's really fun. And sometimes it's it's like, well, how could you not play that? I mean, whatever it is that they're doing just seems like sort of weirdly natural, and on and off for the last 30 years it's felt that way. Like, oh, duh, anyone would just play this because whatever it is that they're doing. So this one feels sort of split between kind of rhythm section driven stuff and guitar driven stuff, I'd say.
I mean, I think just like the butterfly net, if there's a folder with 40 different ideas in it, like half of them are sort of started, or some of them at least are started literally just Lamos playing drums in his garage. Yeah. And it's so immediately like, well, that's fucking weird and cool, let's make a song out of it. Okay, so like now you don't know what the song is, but you know like that's gonna be a song, which makes it kind of exciting and easy. Usually Nathan puts like some sort of melody on it, and then, I mean, this record for sure, like, I don't think any of them really started with us locking ourselves in a room playing guitars, you know what I mean? It was sort of a lot of sort of like a sample or a synth pad or a drum beat, or, yeah.
I think 3 songs were started by drum beats, which is a weird way to write a song, like from a drum beat. And then
Yeah, that's right.
at least one.
Why? But I mean, it's like undeniably
That's great.
unique and cool. Like, if you were just playing like what's that Green Day song? What's every Green Day song? If that was the drum beat, I don't think we would have been like, that should be a song.
It makes me so, my garage is so gross, it's like hard to put into words, like how
Okay, thanks for coming.
No, it just makes me happy that it somehow is being acknowledged as part of the band. So you'll never see this nasty garage, but something about its nastiness must have bubbled up in the album.
You're more like, should we send cops over there? Like,
Oh, it's bad. Yeah, it's definitely.
So, despite me, talking about how the mood of this, or like the sound of this largely comes across as like very pretty, also, the lyrics are very dark and very moody, but I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, Mike, and think about how, I don't know if you're writing the lyrics
Look at these shoes.
simultaneously,
You don't want to wear those shoes.
But I don't know, I guess the question that I would want to ask is like, did hearing this music in real time help kind of like coax these lyrics out of you? Did it make you feel like you had, like, put you in a different headspace in terms of how you're thinking about what you wanted to write about, or as explicitly as what to write about?
yeah, I love that. That's exactly it. It's like this song's sort of more than ever, I'm writing to the songs instead of like just picking lines that I wrote or something that are like a turn of phrase or something. It's more like, what does this song feel like? What is this song? What could it be about? I've learned in way too late in life, like, you can like amplify the song by like melding the words with it instead of just like forcing things together. Or also I should, talking about how weird the drum beats are and stuff. The rhythms are so weird that there's like I have to really like concentrate on like the cadence of lines. So, like if the sentence, if it's in 7 or something and I have to land on the 1 every time, I don't know. There's like so many factors. It's not like a total stream of consciousness at all, or like this is what I'm feeling, I got to get it out. It's like it's almost more like a Sudoku or something. And then I'm also just drawn to sort of maybe like serious music, or I like to think I think of music like it's important, and I don't like to be like frivolous with it. So the words sort of come out maybe heavier than. I don't really even realize how heavy they are. It's like, oh, that's a good line, and it fits, and I can sing it. So, okay, cool, that's good.
So you were writing most of these lyrics, or coming up with them as you guys were writing the music, or after?
For sure, yeah. I mean, like, maybe most of the songs start with like a line, like early on in the process, a line will land, and I'll be like, okay, cool, like, or a melody. I'm trying to think of a song that's like, maybe obviously. The Bad Moon's like, da-da-da, in the dark, da-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Like, I didn't have the actual words, I just knew exactly how that was going. I knew the outro was gonna end up being that. And then all the different iterations of the song, and then by the time you get towards the end of the song, I'm like, okay, cool, now I can fill in the gaps or blanks. And yeah, and then, I mean, obviously, I don't have no interest in being like, I did my laundry in the dark. Like, that's boring. So, what's cooler than that or more important than that?
I don't want to say these are your darkest lyrics ever, because I feel like you are a musician who throughout your career, especially in Owen, you have been very comfortable being pretty transparent and like going there and being very emotional and honest, but you get into a lot of things. You get into like suicide on this, and isolation, and shame, and imposter syndrome, and like many
I mean,
things.
you were in that pandemic. You were going through
Everyone
divorce
knows
during
you.
that pandemic.
But I guess in thinking about those things, I was wondering if you ever, with this album, if you wrote lines or came up with them now knowing that it's like as you're hearing the music, and decided to edit it or take it a step back, or if you had any moments in that process where you're like, I don't want to be honest to a fault.
Yeah, it's not like some. I think I know when I make myself sort of like content. I'm like, okay, cool, I got there or something. I know when I don't, and where even every album I've ever made or whatever, like it doesn't mean I actually got there. It just means that's when I had to call it done. I guess I give these guys credit maybe because it's got to be sort of weird to be attached to me, and you know, like this part of the conversation at interviews is not their fault, it's mine. So it's cool. They don't edit me. They don't like, you know, they're not like, can you just act normal? So thanks, guys.
I will say there was a line that made me think of all four of you, which is in, I'm blanking on the title. Is it Wake Her Up? The song?
That's a song.
Okay, I got it right.
But I don't know which is.
Where you have the line about, like, your daughter sleeping in so late and, like, all these hours pass, and you're like, what is going on? Which I feel like for all four of you are parents, I think, and also just watching your kids age and grow up and reaching the point where they are fully formed humans, but also things like that of, you know, I assume all of us on stage had a point where we were sleeping till like 1 p.m., but then watching your kids do that, I found it funny and thinking of like, oh, moments like that where I was curious if everyone else in the band also heard that line and thought of it in like a nice, tender kind of way.
Yeah, I think in general, I would say, Steve.
Turn your mic on.
Can you hear me? Hello, words, come on.
Steve Holmes.
Guys, this is Ped Mike. I think Mike is, he's an intense songwriter, always has been, but I think lyrically this record is, like for me personally, like resonated a lot. I identify with a lot of the stuff that he's singing about, and I would say, yes, it's like totally dark a lot of the time, but there's also humor in there, and I feel like there's acceptance in there. And it's not all necessarily Mike Kinsella. I think like when he described his writing, you know, he's sometimes writing in character or writing about a story that, you know, singing in the first person, you might think it's Mike, but it's not necessarily Mike. So don't worry, guys, he's okay. Okay.
There you go.
I'm done.
Hit that note.
Did you feel differently after like finishing the lyrics for this album compared to the previous American football ones?
Yeah. I mean, I never had like a movie theater listening party. Also, you know, I'm aware like, is that even a thing? Or what are we doing here? Yeah, I think I've said recently, it's sort of like, it's hitting me like, I guess I made music sort of to what I thought was like this small niche of people, and literally like, if I'm not actually friends with them, I would be friends with them in some capacity, and maybe it seems like maybe it just like got out of the cage a little bit, and now I'm kind of like, oh shit, like I don't know if I'm actually, I don't know if you guys are all filled with goodwill towards me in the way I thought you were, but I don't know. That's where I'm at currently. And you asked.
I appreciate it. Honest answers. Another thing that I wanted to ask you guys about was just, I forget which one of you said it, but One of the four of you said that you thought your first album could only be written by kids and that this album could only have been written by adults. What do you think your teenager selves would think of this album?
I think that was me. Teenage selves, I think we'd be impressed. I would be shocked. Like, these guys are still doing it, and it's good. You know, that's hard to do. But I don't know. I think we're all like music nerds and fans of music and fans of like following an artist through their career. So I think we would be proud and impressed that like we're still writing cool shit into our 40s. Who's laughing? Who's laughing?
Talk about goodwill. What is happening in the front row?
Yeah.
Show the class. You need to show the whole class. It's hard. I think that's Steve Holmes. Is that
Yearbook photos?
those are straight up Mike. Oh, those are cool.
It's funny. Mike Kinsella has one of the worst haircuts of all time. And he just brought this up last week, telling me I should get this haircut.
Oh, yeah.
It has the blonde hair I had when I was 16, and I
Aw.
just turned a 16-year-old haircut.
How many of these did you guys print? Wait, it's really hard to see.
Is this the zine that was handed out?
Amazing.
Oh, there we go.
Wildcats.
Wildcats.
Angel, you know Angel, Wheeling legend. Angel got me into music.
Aw.
Hey,
You
Angel.
too. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey. And you guys printing these pictures got me out of it. Thanks.
So your last album was the, featured guest vocalist. You had Haley Williams, you had Rachel from Slow Dive. This time you brought in more guest vocalists. You had people from Turnstile, Raina Maria, Wisp. What did you learn from the first time around of asking people to collaborate and contribute vocals that maybe informed how you went about picking people this time?
There you go.
Everyone said yes. We were like shocked. We were asking. We were like punching above our weight. But it was encouraging. So we just decided to, that was that was encouraging. It gave us the confidence to kind of like, well, maybe people would want to be associated with us. Yeah, even judging by Mike's yearbook photo, I don't know. It's amazing.
Was there anyone you guys asked or wanted to ask who said no or couldn't do it because they were busy?
I don't think so. I think unless I'm not on all the emails.
Like technically, the parts are sort of written. Like it's not like the parts are written like, oh, this needs to be a woman's voice, or this needs to be another voice. For context in the song, or to make it like more like a conversation or something, so it's not just one voice. Yeah, I think each time it's sort of like, okay, what kind of voice? It's a woman's voice, okay. It needs to be airy, like in Wake Her Up. It had to be sort of like, the song is about this woman who's at the bottom of a sea or whatever, a river. So it had to be like kind of eerie, or ethereal, and then I think we were in a car, and Amber, our boss, was like, what about Natalie from Wisp? Me and Nate just sort of like put on our phone, we're like, fuck yeah, Natalie from Wisp, yeah. And then coincidentally, she already worked with Sunny, who we were working with, and so that's like, it sort of has to fit the vibe, I don't know, yeah.
But we had I'm sorry. We had a funny, an amazing surprise with Brendan from Turnstile. We just happened we had mutual friends, and he kind of showed up, and we didn't really imagine his voice in that place. But once it happened, it was like the sum of both of those parts was like so far greater than anything I think we could have even tried to plan. So I think it's kind of it's been a surprise. Like we've done it both ways, where we've been really lucky, and we've had also chosen people for the right part, I hope.
Yeah, Brendan's an interesting one, because the first time I heard that song, I knew he was on it, but I was like listening for it, and I couldn't even pull out his voice because he blends in so well, and I don't think I knew he could even sing like that, which is really crazy to hear, like, have you bring out another side of someone who's a pretty famous front person, and to have them almost.
I don't think he was into it. I mean, he was nothing but cool, but in this, like, recording it, he's sort of like singing the parts that, as he learned them, you know, we kind of, these are the parts, and he's like, cool. He's like, can I try like a high harmony? And then we're like, okay, and we're all sitting there, and then he hits the high harmony, like, oh, that's his voice, like that's, yeah, like he heard it, he's like, well, what would I do? And then he did what he did, it was fucking awesome. Yeah.
Does that make him the first of the like guest vocalists on your records to do a different part than what you asked them to do? In that he did the harmony?
I you know, I don't know how to answer that because I lived with these demos for so long with me mocking the thing that I'm like, we'll do this. So it's like everybody's different. Like, you know, like the demos didn't sound like what Haley did. So, you know, I would, yeah. She also did everything in 2 takes. Like, she did 1 take where like, I guess you can do another if you want, but you just fucking nailed it. Yeah.
And I wasn't part of those conversations, you know, wasn't part of the conversations to invite folks, but to your question, you know, like, I think the best way to work with somebody is to sort of say, here's what we're trying to do, here's an idea, please do you, right? That is to say, contribute in the way that you want to. And I think one of the magic things, I'm saying this because I wasn't part of the early conversations, I would just get the verses of these songs, I'm like, what is this? This is unbelievable. And I think it's just sort of like, hey, we're trying to do this thing, we imagine some version of what you bring to the table, you know, do it, do what you want to do. And I think all 3 of these guest spots are sort of proof of that. You know, Haley's too, like, it's just like, this is magic to me. And not being part of it, it's like this amazing gift just to hear these versions of these songs and be like, wow, here's somebody amazing sort of doing their thing and bringing their own kind of flavor to this. So it's cool that way.
The Haley part, I mean, I know when I get to the next album, was written as just sort of like the choruses, I think, and then we were like, well, it seems like a waste to just use it there. So then I think I was late in the process. Nate wrote a whole verse for her, and we just like extended the whole song just to like get her more feature time because it's like, holy fuck, it's awesome. And then now there's like 2 people fully in the conversation. The Natalie part sounded so good. We floated it onto the outro. We're like, oh yeah, that has to come back and like a call and response. Yeah, it's kind of always evolving. Kaylin's was like, there was another part written for her, but we ended up like, again, the time of this band, nobody knows where the 1 is, so her parts got like shifted over like 1 beat, and then, yeah, cut a little bit, but yeah, it's all new to us once we get it back, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear how that works. It's also funny to hear that you guys were maybe surprised if people said yes, just because, I mean, you know, I think of American football as being a very big band, but I guess I maybe understand that the Haley Williams of the world where enter like the pop sphere, where that's like a whole other ballgame. But it does make me curious about people who, I would imagine you've had people offer or just like outright ask or kind of demand to work with you guys or collaborate with you, whether it's singing or playing on a record or something.
Everybody wants you to sing on their records.
Well, more so like being like, hey, if you need someone for your 4th album, especially after the 3rd one came out, if you need someone to do it, I'll put my hat in the ring. This was me speculating, but because Matty Healy has to fly you out to that festival in England, and he seems like the type of personality who would very much throw his hat in the ring, it made me think, are there people, not that you have to name names, but are there people who kind of maybe pushed your ass, and how do you go about, like, I don't know, do you have to turn down other musicians? Do you have to do the like, oh yeah, that'd be cool, and then just like never follow up again?
Not really. No, we're not that sought out, maybe, I don't know. But yes, Matty Healy.
I'm not on all the emails. I'm not on all the emails.
We'll leave it there. The last time that I saw you guys here in Chicago was that Goose Island show outside. I think it was last summer or 2 summers ago. And there was a kid next to me I mean, everyone there was really vibing, but there's a kid next to me who was really like losing his mind, like hands on head, repeatedly saying, "Oh my God," turning to all of these people around him who are not his friends, myself included, and like, "This is crazy, we're seeing this band right now. I've waited forever to see them." He's probably college age. And part of me was like, that's kind of silly. This band's been reunited for over a decade, and you've played at, I think, all ages venues and stuff that would allow people to attend if they want to. But then another part of me was like, oh, I totally understand where this guy's at, because the fact that something about like your band breaking up and not existing for so long and then coming back, it's like it kind of plays into what we were saying about how it maybe feels surprising that people would say yes to singing on your records or wanting to work with you, in that you both feel like a small band and a big band at the same time. But in particular, your whole original era feels very like mythical. I think it's because of the fact that you broke up so soon after, and it was very word of mouth, and then it became file sharing, and then it became like message boards, and then it becomes streaming era and social media where people see this album cover and it looks very mysterious. And I don't know, it's interesting that you've been able to kind of maintain this aura over the band, even though right now you're probably the most successful you have ever been in terms of touring, of being on social media, of, you know, just like being out in public. So I don't know, I was just thinking about that, and if that feels weird to both get to do what you do, but also be treated as like this very underground, super niche band.
Yeah, it's a little weird. Angel could tell you. Angel's probably the only person in this room that saw this band originally. And
Oh, yeah.
He can vouch that like no one cared about American football.
Nope.
So
We got to wait in between songs during at the fireside, like in tuning. Like, come on.
So it was painful.
Next song.
We were not a great band at that time, and definitely not well known, and kind of retroactively made to be a bigger part of the scene than we were. And I think all of our peers and bands that we came up with from that time, like when the band got back together originally, and they're like, people like American football? Like they were as shocked or more shocked than us. Like, what the hell? Why is it people like this band? They let us know. So yeah, it's a surprise, but then we have been doing this for over a decade now, and what was fun about doing the 25th anniversary, playing the first record again the last couple of years, is that we actually know what we're doing this time. Like when we got back together in 2014, I had not been in a band in a decade, and like we were kind of figuring out how to be a band in real time in front of people, and it's hard to do when there's 1,000 people looking at you and you're not used to that. So yeah, I do feel like we went from being, you know, kind of starting in the middle by accident, to actually like putting in the work for a decade and be like, okay, no, we're a real band now. We actually know what we're doing. We've gotten to the point where we're like, okay, it's still weird that people care, but it's fun and exciting and cool to be making, you know, what we think is like the best music of our lives, like this far into it.
So I teach college.
Yes.
And it's been a long, strange trip doing that while this band is doing whatever it's doing. We've got the Wheeling Wildcats here.
Yes.
So, you know, there are times when, like, I'll be teaching and I think, you know, I'm quite a bit older than my students, and, like, some days are hitting and then some days aren't hitting. And then it is strange to think, like, the story that you were telling, right? That right at this moment, we, you know, we're super grateful for lots of younger people sort of being interested in this music, but it is definitely time and space compressed, because I had to ask my kids what unk was, because like I was being sort of teased, oh, unk, and I asked my own kids, I'm like, what does that mean? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? And they're like, no, it's not a good thing. But I don't know how you can be an unk, but also like be participating in this. It's really kind of fascinating. So I'll take it. But it is like, I'm glad that you know, you relayed that story, because it is kind of interesting. It's sweet in a way. Like it makes me think that maybe music is bigger than all of us, because there aren't many other spaces in which middle-aged people and younger people would sort of be vibing on the same thing, whatever it is that we're all talking about here together. And so I think that's, I don't know, it gives me hope. It's sort of a weird time to be alive. I think we can say that. It gives me hope to think that there's this kind of like intergenerational thing happening. So yeah, I think I find that quite interesting, actually.
I did actually, because you brought up being a professor or working at a college, wanted to ask you, there was like a big like emo conference last weekend.
There sure was, yeah.
You were a keynote speaker.
I sure was.
It
It was awesome. Oh my god, it was awesome. Yeah, it was like
Unk.
he's done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sure. I'll keep it snappy, but like, musicology is an interesting intersection of music and sociology. They asked me to come. Everyone was really into Haley Williams and Paramore and My Chemical Romance. Those were sort of the bands that everybody was sort of talking about. But it was fascinating. Yeah, it's a really enjoyable experience to go down. I got two guys, Varun and Patrick, put this together, and they're going to do another version of it. And it was awesome. It was fun to take my college life and this life and bring them together instead of hiding.
Does it feel natural to think about your band in like an academic context? You're kind of the outlier here in that you actually work in academics, but I don't know, to think of your music is quite difficult to play and very mathy, and I think it draws a lot of people to it because of that aspect. But I'm curious if it gives you, but also the rest of the band, like a new appreciation for your music, to think that it's being viewed in that realm as well, not just people like, oh, I liked this band when I was younger, but people coming to it and feeling like there's a lot to dissect.
Yeah, it's quite amazing actually just to think about it on all of these different levels, and maybe even some of the ways that the band has given me a new lease on my own career in a way, not feeling kind of like middle-aged and stuck, but actually really excited to think about some of these things. And so yeah, it's been
And
it's
Lemos,
fun.
tell them about the kid who did like the American football classical arrangement that you're performing.
Oh yeah. Actually, I've been, in addition to trying to learn these songs that are really hard. There's a first-year student at my school named Max Adams who arranged a bunch of American football music for like percussion ensemble, and we're going to perform it in a couple weeks. And I'm nervous because I quit music school because I was bad at it. And it's hard. It's really hard. It's a challenging arrangement, but it's been super fun. And again, like just this sort of like wonderful intersection of like kind of me and students and kind of old folks and young folks. And it's awesome. And they're incredibly good players. So I'm excited. I think they're going to record it, and hopefully we can get that recording out somewhere, because it's really one of the sort of cool honors of life to be able to do that. So yeah, thanks for reminding me of that.
One other thing is that when you guys reunited in 2014, it was to meet, this demand that, as you said, did not exist at the time. It was a much bigger audience than you ever had before. There's this expectation in that regard, but now as you're making new music, compared to your first reunion record, your second album of your career, these past two are really different sonically, but they feel so comfortable. To me, it sounds very much like who you probably identify as now and feel good doing, and you're still challenging yourselves in this other ways musically. To you, does the music you're making now feel like that's the identity of American football? Does it feel at odds with the music you made early on? Do you feel like the perception of the public or like your fandom plays a part in the type of music that you're making right now?
I would say labels are a thing that people use to just categorize things. Like we didn't, to be clear, we didn't think we were an emo band the first time. So we thought we were intentionally not an emo band. I think to us, just like music is music. I think we listen to a broad variety of things, and you kind of lean into whatever sounds cool to you and try to make the most interesting thing you can make, irrespective of genre. There you go. We got it.
Oh, that's tough because I wasn't in it the first time around. But I mean, we just kind of operate on what's exciting to us now. Really, it's kind of like that's what pushes it forward, and along the way we've incorporated new elements that have pushed the boundaries out further, of at least instrumentation wise, but further than that, other than that too. I was a fan of this band before I was in it when LP1 came out. And I love the simplicity of it. I love that there was no bass. It's really weird to be asked to play bass in a band, but it's better with no bass. What are you doing? It was weird to say yes to that gig. So I love the simple parameters on it at the beginning, but to keep things kind of moving forward, we have pulled in other elements that are exciting to
You're
us.
talking about Steve's garage still? Yeah. It's like, we need a dingy garage to, yeah.
Leave my garage alone. I've already come out and told people that it's a mess. I'm sorry. I was going to say, you had asked earlier about like what our teenage selves would think about this band. I don't know the answer to that question, but what I wish I could say to my teenage self now is that, hey, you know, if you're going to do something, you might as well try to be sincere about it. And so maybe if for better or for worse, I think that's been sort of the mantra for this. I think when we were young, we made music from that space. I think now that we're old, we're making music from a different space, and it's still fun and exciting. I mean, I think the reunion tour stuff was really incredible in certain ways, and the energy was fantastic. But I think we want to keep doing these things, and I think that's the point of being in a band, is to keep making new things too. And so I guess I worry that teenage self would be like, oh, unk or whatever. You know? Like, I think if I could go back, you're better off just chasing after what feels like it's important, and that seems like the only reason to do any of this, really.
So I have one question left, and then I can open it up to the audience if people have questions of their own. But maybe very specific. But what are your favorite parts on this album? Not favorite song or anything, like a favorite moment or part.
Yeah, there's Caitlin sings a line. She sings the word desperate, and it sounds so desperate the way she sings it. And I guess I'm drawn to it because I can, like, you know, I can play what I hear in my head on guitar, and I can play what I hear in my head on drums. I can't play what he plays on drums, but I can't make my voice do what her voice does, and it brings me joy.
Favorite part? I think there's a lot of different parts that come back around, but I love on the last song, there's like a choir part that Nate commissioned. Where were they? I don't even know where. Somewhere in like South Africa or something. You got like a choir somehow to like sing on this song, which is amazing. That part always kills me.
You like a halftime tambo at some
I do
point
like
too. You
halftime
talked
tambo.
about this halftime tambo.
There's a part in
Just halftime
Wake Her
tambo.
Up where I get the tambourine part stuck in my head, which is a weird thing to say.
I would say there are a few moments of disorientation right at the beginning. There's one in the middle and one at the end that I find really pleasurable. Something about like being alive in this moment. I feel that the opening kind of song, and then the patron saint of pale song, and then the last song all just feel interestingly disorienting to me in a way. And so I feel like they weren't designed to be beginning, middle, and end, but I think the songs told us what order they wanted to be in. And I think that's quite fascinating when the songs tell you where they need to be. And I think we all sort of landed on that. So I think that's one of my favorite things about the album, is it feels like it built itself or something, I guess.
There's a part in Patron Saint of Pale that has. I was visiting my family for Christmas, my wife's family in Minneapolis, and Mike had brought up having a kids choir, kids part on this part of the song, and my niece was there, and she was hanging out with her friend, and we sort of spontaneously recorded this like on my iPhone, just on the piano. It's like singing like this little thing, and we just did it like a few times, and I just had it on my phone, but we threw it on top of the song, and it fit so well. So that part is a special place in my
I'm so
heart.
glad you said that, because I love the way that sounds, and their names are credited. We're like, who are these people? I'm trying to Google them, and they don't have any of your last names. Who are these random children on this song?
We're gonna talk about it.
They don't have a Discogs?
They sound great.
Awesome.
Yeah, does anyone have a question they want to ask? You in the front? Or I guess I can hand you the microphone if you want, or if you yell, I can repeat it.
Okay, I am close enough. I feel like, it's kind of not really an exaggeration and you know, just looking back from where the band started and to how this genre has kind of blossomed into this really beautiful, like diverse palette of different sounds. Even in like the local scene, I feel like bands like, you know, like Summer 2000 and like Your Arms Are My Cocoon, these bands sound like very sparsely different from American football, but really wouldn't be where they are without this band. And so I guess my question regarding that is that when you look at these two different musical zeitgeists in emo music, how do these two different eras in this scene influence the music you make today?
I think, I don't know, I'll take a stab. Thanks for the question. So you're asking about how kind of older, what we were originally a part of in contemporary music kind of influence one another? Is that a fair paraphrase?
I think it's more so like, I feel like emo music today is like very different from what it used to be. And how does hearing the music that you influence back that side?
I mean, literally, you know, like maybe Haley would say she grew up liking our band, that we did an accent when we were young, and she's from a different thing. And she's gone on to make like such totally diverse pop, country, everything. Again, Maddie Healy comes up, like, what little contact or whatever, I'm like, oh my God, like, huge fan of your band, man. Like, his band also is referencing all this 80s shit that then he likes our band, but now I'm referencing 1975 shit, which is referencing shit that I liked when I was actually a kid, like, and he's, you know, it's sort of incestuous, I guess. You know, like, there's just, you know, there's melody and there's time and there's how many different elements, and I don't know what we have in common with, I don't know the bands you mentioned, but I know, I guess we're just like selfishly trying to do what we do. I don't know, like, I know I'm gonna go to bed counting some dumb riff, and I don't know what the other bands sound like.
But I also, I mean, I think maybe what's in common is that we were talking about that sincerity thing before. If they're doing what they want to do, I think that's an amazing thing. I know on my campus, for instance, there's this kind of resurgence of house party scenes and this deep sort of need for college-age kids to do their version of the Fireside Bowl thing, and I think I'm like so inspired by that. So whether I know a band or even like a band, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's that energy of wanting to be around one another, like supporting live music again in the Spotify world. Like I think that's super exciting. We're all kind of like dipping into the same pool of energy, whatever it is. And so I think that I just love the idea that maybe even if I hate music, right? I'm not supposed, like, because I'm a lot older, like maybe there's stuff that kids are way into that I actively hate, but that I should, right? It's like easy. But that doesn't matter. Like, just to respect the idea that somebody's going to make their noise and like take it seriously seems like incredible. We made our noise back then. I guess we're still kind of making it now, but like, I just love the idea that there are 15, 16-year-olds doing their thing. You know what I mean? And like making their own world out of it, because that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like the coolest thing you can do as a musician or artist of any kind is like if you make a thing that inspires somebody else to make a thing, like that's like the highest praise and compliment that you can get. And so like whatever the current emo scene is, like I'm sure we have no clue about most of those bands. I never heard them unless they played with us. But to have inspired anyone to pick up an instrument and write a song is like the coolest thing that you can do as a musician. So that's great.
I guess it's quite hard to see. The person in the second row?
So question for each of you. Is there anything in the arts right now, whether it's like theater, music, books, that you hyper fixated on or like really been impressed with, anything that inspires your sound a little bit, even just individually?
I heard something. Oh, sorry. I heard something. There's this a choral group called Roomful of Teeth. Cool. They're really great, and they just collaborated with this artist Gabriel Kahane, and they put out an album. And I'll be honest, I don't listen to a lot of new music due to time constraints. It's sad. I'm trying to change, but this I listened to, and I was really blown away by it. And that's the newest thing that I can think of that inspired me. Oh, one more thing. Okay, this is strictly a Chicago thing too. Alex Grelly, the Grelly Show. Grelly, anybody? Oh, you guys gotta know. Okay. At the Chopin Theater, I think it's going on for another week. The Grelly Duvall Show. Everyone should go see this. It's so amazing. It's like it's a multimedia performance drag show musical, but it's all like referencing 80s and 90s music, but woven into this really abstract thing. It is so cool. The last time I saw it was probably like 6 months ago. It blew my mind and it was so inspiring. So everybody check out Alex Grelly. It's incredible.
I heard pretty recently that I guess less than 20% of adults in the US read for pleasure. So you asked about the arts, like just reading for pleasure, forcing yourself to put screens away and pick up a paper book and really like just dive in has been incredibly, it's been incredibly sustaining lately. I feel good to read for pleasure again. It's been a long time, so I guess that's another angle on that. But just trying to tap into some kind of flow state that's not driven by algorithms or thumbs doing this has been really worthwhile, I think. I got for 25 cents at a thrift store, I got a book called Elvis, What Happened? I'm going to tell you, not really a lot good at the end. But it was fascinating. It was just one of those sort of fun moments, like, what the hell, for a quarter, why don't I pick up some sort of, whatever paperback from 1978 or whatever it was from. It was really this sort of tale, but just some stuff like that. I recently read the Bill Frisell biography, and I'm such an enormous fan of his music. Biography is wonderful. It's a little bit warts and all. He's really honest, I feel like, about. But Bill Frisell, I'm trying to think of some other cool stuff. The How to Write One Song, the Jeff Tweedy book was really kind of interesting. It's a quick read. Those are just a few. I got all kinds of academic books that I know will glaze people's eyes over, but it's just been awesome to do that.
This is not new, but I think Nate turned me on to Arthur Russell. I've been really into all the Arthur Russell records. Those are amazing. Should listen to those.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys can pick people if you want. I'll let you choose.
Do you have any advice for local DIY bands, how to just deal with everything?
Just break up, make a record, break up.
One advice that I've said for my entire life, just because I've been following my brother down this stupid music path. Just keep doing it. Do you like doing it? You know what I mean? Like I made the joke, I'm gonna keep thinking about this song going to bed without thinking about who hears it or what it's gonna be or whatever. If that sort of drives you, then just keep doing it. Because even if it doesn't work, it's still working. You know what I mean? It's still bringing you joy.
Yeah, it's okay for it to just be therapy. I just want to say, I do a lot of things that, I sink a lot of time and energy and finances into them.
Nate, did you know this though, as younger human? No, I'm saying you come you realize later oh, that was the value. It wasn't
Right.
the value was doing it.
I think I had to learn that lesson that it doesn't come externally. Of course, it feels good when you show something to somebody and they enjoy listening to
put
something.
masks on them.
But I don't know. I think it's okay for it to just exist in your life, and if it makes you happy, I think that's actually way more important than then I think people, we're Americans, so like, we just like go, make it, you know, do the thing, and this many likes, subscribe, whatever, do all this. It's actually, it's okay for it to be not that. It's really okay. I try to pick up hobbies I dabble in a lot of things, but just to keep things new, and like, it's all just therapy. It's all just like how to get through it, you know? And it's okay that like a ton of people don't love your band or whatever. Don't let that doesn't matter. It's like,
It's like also like my whole life, that's how I made friends. You know, and that's how I spent my summers. You know, then I just kind of was like, you gotta go to college. I grew up thinking I had to go to college because my parents said I had to go to college. Went to college, but I knew every spring break I'm gonna go on tour with my older brother, and then all summer I'd be traveling, and the whole time, you know, complaining about it. But in hindsight, it's so cool to like, I've slept on so many shitty floors, like, I've eaten so much weird food in different countries, and not making money and not glamorous. It's the opposite. Like, everybody else would like run away from it, and I'm like, no, that was a great experience. It was awesome.
Yeah, and if you know, these DIY scenes are everything, and it's about you playing in them, but it's also about you supporting them and watching your friends play, and whoever is either lucky or crazy enough to throw a basement show, go to their shows, and then make sure you set one up for somebody else. It is the antidote to Spotify and all that stuff. I feel awful for young bands. You put your music out there, and you're up against Beyonce or somebody. You know what I mean? Like, it feels, the numbers are like crippling, but that's not, I said this all the time. When we were in Champaign, like, to sell 250 copies of vinyl was like this, felt amazing. Like, oh my God, we made connections in real life, and somebody spent money and bought this thing. The scale felt a lot more reasonable than it feels now, and it's not, the numbers aren't real. I mean, they're like putting butts in seats is real. Getting excited about your friends and doing that for other folks, and really making sure that you're there when their band plays too, it becomes everything. Then you know, your friend group, and you meet romantic partners in the whole bit. Like, it's kind of everything. So you do what you do, and those local DIY things are kind of the whole seed of all of it. And it is like the most fulfilling part of any of this. And just, you chase it because you want to, or you need to, or something. There's something wrong with you enough where you have to do this. And that's all of us, and it sounds like it's probably you too. And I think that you might as well own it and do it, you know. And just let me say thank you so much. It's super kind of you to say that. And if I'm so flattered by the notion, you said something along the lines of melodic or something like that. Yeah, that. I grew up playing the trumpet. Was never like, I have a love-hate relationship with that instrument, but I think I'm trying to play. I'm chasing after things that feel compelling somehow. I don't know, like melodic in some way, shape, or form, or whatever. What would a non-drummer, right, do? I still can't play a pop punk beat to save my life. It's so funny. Like my daughter's in 6th grade and like learning rolls, and she can like do them better than me. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So constraints are interesting, right? Like what sort of people. I don't know. I feel like I can't do the normal things, and therefore it pushes me to do other stuff. But it just means the world that you didn't even ask that question. I don't know. The garage is awesome. Like, it's the same, like related to this issue about DIY. I'm like, or even to Mike's point, something will happen. I'll be like, I just want to keep doing that. I just want to keep doing that. Sometimes it's like an hour, just that thing, right? Or like lately I've been playing with songs. Something will grab me. I'll just be like, I'm just gonna keep playing this with this song until I feel like I wrote a part that I wish were on this song. And it's like, there's something compelling about that, and I don't know, it's just sort of like life affirming. So I appreciate you saying that, but it's this same, like, just commitment to like, man, I just gotta do this. I don't know. I probably should be doing other things, but I don't want to. Yeah. Yeah, oh, well, I thank you so much for that question, I appreciate it.
In the back, all over the back.
Thank you. Following up on that, do you have any favorite rudiments or snare pieces or styles you like playing?
Oh gosh, we're only taking 5 more drum questions.
Shut up! This is my time now. No, I don't. I guess what I would say is,
Or shotgun. Just kidding.
I have a rudiments book from 1934, and I don't even remember what it's called, but I play some of that stuff. I love playing with stuff. I think the best thing to do as a drummer is to play with other people's music, especially if you're really into it. And now you have these AI tools where you can scrub stuff out if you want to. I just think playing with other people's music is probably the single most interesting way to get better, and it keeps your attention. So I wish I had better answers. A real drummer would be able to answer that question. But, no, appreciate it.
You're in charge, Hole.
Any non-drum related questions?
Or like specifically guitar player.
How is the real estate investment of the American Football House gone?
Swimming in it. What else do you need to know?
We replaced everything.
We did everything up front.
I
It
think we
was
only
a,
lost like $2,000 last year. So.
yeah, the initial investment was, we were like, oh fuck, we got drunk at a party and agreed to do this. And then we're like, oh yeah.
It's still there.
Still there. We're hoping that if Illini basketball keeps performing well, we can make some money in Airbnb in the falls. Sorry, did I say it out loud?
But besides that, we do have it as an Airbnb to pay the mortgage, which is expensive. And it was a shit stack when we bought it, because this was a college rental for 50 years and the most dilapidated house you've ever seen. And now it's nice, you can stay there. But also we host artists and writers, and people like come there, and this band Polyvinyl came and made a record there. They did like a writing retreat for a month, so we're renting it out to fun cool people doing cool shit.
If you guys like the band Cap'n Jazz,
No.
maybe you guys know Victor, who also is like super formative in the way we all play music. You spent like a week there this past winter, and he started recording a new solo album, and he's still working on it, but he's making progress.
I think that's it for questions we can take, because it's 9:30, so we have to end.
Okay, but what about the drums? So what about that?
Yeah.
Any more paradiddle questions?
Yeah.
Thank you all for coming, and thank you to
Yeah, thank you all. Appreciate you so much.